Bring this meeting to order, 6:01. We're going to forego the prayer tonight. Anybody have any pecuniary interest to declare? Seeing none, we'll continue. Adoption of agenda. Moved by Dave Mackay, seconded by Kathy Regier. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region adopts the agenda for the October 21st, 2015 council meeting. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Dave Mackay, seconded by Kathy Regier. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region adopts the minutes of the September 16 regular council meeting. Any questions on the 16th agenda? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Dave Mackay, seconded by Kathy Regier. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the attached schedule of general purpose accounts in the amount of... Is that $2 million? Okay, this takes me a few seconds to get going on that. $2,393,318.83. And water fund accounts in the amount of $44,350.58 for the period September 1st to September 30th, 2015, and the above accounts be paid. Any questions? Kathy, Councillor Regier.
Just one question on the Killaloo wood products for almost $12,000. What is that for? Anyone can answer that?
What's the check number?
24968.
Councillor McLaughlin.
As Chair of Environmental Services, that's the grinding of the brush piles at the landfill site, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
For cover, right?
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. We can just go ahead with them anyway. Moved by Dave Mackay, seconded by Kathy Regier. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region receives and files departmental reports from the Treasurer, Public Works, Building Department, Environmental Services, Fire Department, CAO, and Reeve. Marcia, have you got anything to add to your report?
No, I don't.
Any questions on Marcia's report? Okay. Bill, have you got anything to add to your report? Any questions for Bill? Okay. Doug, have you got anything to add? All right. Steve?
No, sir.
All right. Everybody has a copy of the Reeves report, I presume?
Yeah.
very windy, I thought. Just saying.
Fire department and me and then.
Oh yeah, just making them hold back. Wayne, have you got anything to add to yours? You can't hide behind Bill because then I can't see you.
Into the microphone, please. Get picked up.
No, Mr. Mayor.
CAO.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I had a synopsis of the sessions I attended at the Ontario East Municipal Conference, and then there's a series of other reports from staff here from various training and conferences and workshops they've attended. We had a staff meeting this morning, and everyone in the management team noted that it's very interesting reading these reports to see what other people have learned, and particularly when there's common themes of teamwork, etc. So I think it's a great way to bring the information back.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor McLaughlin?
I would just like to say I agree. I thought it was very, very interesting, and thought it was informative as well, and it was great to see that everyone, and maybe that should be something we should be doing, because we are not getting any feedback from any of the conferences other than this. That's the first I had, so unfortunately I was not able to go to any conferences this year, but it would have been nice. I've talked to a former mayor from Laurentian Valley, whose idea was maybe these workshops should be videoed and be sent back so we could get copies, because it is expensive. So that's something maybe could be sent to them as well, because even though we don't go, we're certainly interested in what happens.
Councillor Jackson.
Just so Councillor McLaughlin knows that most of those conferences, the presentations are usually on the website for OGRA and OEMC as well. Some do videotape them. It might be OGRA that does that, but I'm not 100% sure, or it might be AMO. But certainly the presentations are always available on the websites.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. I believe that you can get videos, special videos. They usually have them available at the conferences also. Councillor McLaughlin?
Well, then maybe that's something we should have our delegates do, is bring them back if they're there, so we could have a look at them.
If they're not on the website, then definitely we should do that. Absolutely. Everybody agree? Councillor Olmsted?
Yeah, sorry, I thought you were done with that item. When we are done with the item, could I just go back to the Reeves report when you're done discussing the
All right.
conferences?
Rewind. Reeves report. Do you have any questions for the Reeves?
Yeah, and sorry, we of course we just received this now to read. Otherwise, I would have tried to done it beforehand. Just the very bottom, Mr. Reeve. Just a comment. Business case for accelerated extension of Highway 17 has had a setback following meeting of EOTNA on September 15th. Mr. Paul Morgan attended, and Highway 17 did not make a short list of 6 priorities of transportation needs in Eastern Ontario. I'd really like to find out what would meet the needs of transportation needs in Ontario if a Highway 17 doesn't meet those needs. And I understand this isn't your issue, but what I'd like to see is can we see that short list of the 6 priorities that made that list? As we know, Highway 17 through our township is a major issue, cause of catastrophes and accidents and all kinds of issues on it. And with almost 10,000 vehicles a day flowing through Cobden on an average day, I'd really like to see what they're considering would make a short list of priorities.
Yes, I can get that. I do not have that right here. The short list was 6. I do remember deep ports on the St. Lawrence was one of them. There was some other highway jobs. The the feeling up at county in regard to this is that if you're not north of Highway 7, or sorry, if you're not south of Highway 7, you don't get a lot of consideration. County sent one man down there on short notice, and the thinking up there was that there should have been a lot more people from this area down. So they're re-strategizing this now, and they've got a lot of good ideas. I don't think I'll go into them right now, but they're thinking about hiring somebody to lobby for this, and they're going back out. They had a joint meeting here this week of the finance and admin and the property and development to address this. So, yeah, they're not happy, and we're not on the radar. Is where we stand right now. I would like to point out I made a little typo. That's Paul Morrow, Director of Development and Property. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Further to that, part of my understanding, if I'm properly informed, and I think I got the information from the correct sources, they still haven't purchased the land. Other than 3 pieces of property between the silt fence, if you will, at the end of the project where BEI is right now, to the top of Meath Hill. They haven't, and so that's why it's not on the radar, people, because they haven't bothered for so many years. It's been off the radar past there and prior for many years. So I guess we're going to have to be squeaky and do a lot of running, right?
Yeah,
we have to help the county and push that ahead. Any other questions of Reeve Miller? Having heard none, we will move forward. So, all those in favor of accepting the department head reports? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Kathy Regier, seconded by Dave Mackay. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region adopts the minutes of the October 7th Council in Committee meeting. You have Corporate Services Committee Resolution 1, Protective Services Committee Resolution 1, Environmental Services Committee Resolution 1, correct? So, okay, we'll do. All those in favor of adopting the minutes? Opposed, if any? Carried. Oh, yes, okay. All right. We will do them 1, 2, 3 individually. Moved by Councillor Olmsted and seconded by Councillor Regier. Be it resolved that the Corporate Services Committee in the Township of, let's start over. Be it resolved that the Corporate Service Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region agrees that the council and committee packages will be paperless starting with the November 18th regular council meeting. A paper agenda will continue to be provided. End of the 212 pages. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. I didn't look at Terry, in case he didn't, yeah. I didn't look at you just in case. Moved by Reeve Miller, seconded by Charlene Jackson. Be it resolved that the Protective Service Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends to Council that the Resolution 2015-3298 be rescinded and the Forsters Falls pump truck number 9640 be returned to frontline service now that it has passed the pump test and municipal liability insurance coverage has been confirmed. For those who aren't sure of that number, that's the fire truck from the Forsters Falls fire station. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Oh, we just do number 3. Moved by Reeve Miller, seconded by Kathy Regular, Councillor Regular. Be it resolved that the Environmental Services Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends to Council that the water rates be reduced at the Cobden and Beachburg facilities of the Lanark, Renfrew Health and Community Services to one small commercial unit for water and sewer rates effective January 1st, 2016 for each facility. All those in favor? Oh, any questions? Reg?
I just want to let everybody realize, and we'll have their thinking hats on, because I think when Councillor Olmsted did the figures, there was going to be a $5,000 shortfall. So it has to be thought about, because somehow, somewhere, we're going to have to pick it up. So I just want to bring that to the attention before you go ahead and vote.
All right, and I believe we're aware of that too. Actually,
Well, that's good, but I wanted to
Councillor McLaughlin.
address it so that everybody was aware.
Yep, absolutely. All right, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Can't let that one rest too long. Moved by Dave Mackay, seconded by Kathy Regular. Be resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approves that the following bylaws be introduced, read, dealt with, numbered, signed by the mayor and clerk, and sealed and recorded in the bylaw book. 1. 15-10-823 Water Agreement, Ryan's Maintenance, Inc. 2. 15-10-824 Development Agreement, Morning Light Dairy Farms. And would you speak to that, Christine?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this morning's staff meeting, we did have a brief discussion about Ryan's Maintenance hooking up to non-potable water, and I'm going to ask Andrew, our Entrepreneurship Development Coordinator, to visit each of the businesses in the industrial park and make sure that they have a sign posted in their bathroom or wherever there is a tap that this is non-potable, non-drinking water, just to be on the safe side.
That's definitely a good idea, yeah. Any questions? Councillor Mackay.
Wouldn't that be up to the companies? They own the buildings now, and they should already know that.
I believe the utilities, ours, and the liability would fall back us to make sure that they have the signage. I think that's in the Act. I'm pretty sure it's in the Act. Any other questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. No, absolutely. Moved by Councillor Regular, seconded by Councillor Mackay. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region receives and files correspondence 1 through 11. Correct? Oh, okay. We'll start out with the Crin's report. Rogers Tower, Fortress Falls Road. Any questions?
They're on the wrong something.
Wait a minute. Let's.
You're back in the minutes. You gotta,
Bring out my paper.
which page?
How did we get that?
Page 40.
Long, 1 through 6. We better change that right away. 1 through 6. I'm just going to put down 06 if that's all right with everybody, because I had 11 down there. So, number 1, Legion military service recognition book, and Christine has a copy.
Yeah, we have an original here, and I'll pass it around. It's an amazing publication that goes back many, many years with descriptions and photos of all of the folks who have fought and given their lives. So, the hard copy, I guess we've only just got the one. Perhaps we can have it out in the lobby on display, but if anyone would like to see it,
That's a good,
this is what it looks like. And we paid to participate.
I think that's a very good idea to have it on our coffee table between our chairs in the lobby.
Like you were back on the minutes for...
I'll just follow this one. Christine, that's... Yeah, I'm okay with that. Number 2, report Art Cobb Tourist Bureau visitor status. Any questions? Any comments?
Oh, no.
We're still wrong?
Correspondence.
Oh, sorry. Okay, wait a minute, guys. I have this really... I have to draw lines now. Veterinary Board minutes from the annual meeting September 23rd, 2014. Maybe Councillor Mackay could make some comments on that. The veterinary meeting. And Darrell, Councillor McLaughlin.
I think at that time I was the rep, 2014, so,
Have you got any comments then?
I really don't have any comments. I think it's all discussed here in the minutes.
Okay.
And I guess the minutes of the 2015 meeting, which was held, will not show up until probably next August or so. That's normal protocol, the way they do it.
Okay. Yeah, they only
I
meet
don't
once a year,
know.
that's correct. Yeah, they only meet once a year, correct?
That's right. The meeting is once a year. I have a question for Councillor Mackay, though. Did they find a second person to go to that conference in New Liskeard?
Question of the question, when is the conference?
I think it's November the 3rd. That was the big problem because
Yeah,
there were too many hunters around the table. So they were looking for, I know that Ray Pender is going, but he was looking for a second person. And I don't know what happened from there.
Okay. Pembroke and Area Airport meeting minutes from June 24th. Any questions or comments? Christine?
Yeah, they will be coming forward to a committee meeting, this year. I'm sorry, I don't have my notes with me. I believe it's the next one, it's either the next one, November 4th, or it's December 2. But before the end of the year, you will be getting an update, and I believe that there's going to be a budget ask.
Are there any carriers in the future, Darrell?
There is ongoing discussions going on, but right at this moment, nothing is public.
Okay.
They're hoping so. They're hoping to get some more help our people from the military as well, getting more people using the airport, coming in and out. There's a lot of skydiving practices done, so.
Well, here's hoping. I would cut the costs a bit.
It would be a great, it would be a hope, because as of everything else, we're struggling.
Yeah, exactly. Reeve Miller.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment, just for interest's sake. Former solicitor for this municipality, Del O'Brien, I believe he had a book released today called Premier and the History of It. As some of you may know, he played a big part in that airport, and especially in the formation of Premier, so I thought I'd let you know.
the two big role players were Del O'Brien, huge player, and Mike Johnson. They were pretty heavy partners, and they did have Pam Air in there for a long time. Yep. Christine?
There's one other report that Councillor McLaughlin gave me along with the minutes, and it's the Economic Impact and Infrastructure Review for the Pembroke Airport. There is one copy. I was informed that he wants it back, but I have it in my office for a few days if anyone wishes to review it.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. Economic Impact and Infrastructure Review.
That was just the document I spoke about.
That's the one.
Yep.
Okay. June Colwood Outstanding Achievement Award for volunteerism nominations. You do that on purpose, don't you? Any questions? Number 6, Greyhound Bus Service Letter from Ward Nemo, request for support. Christine?
Thank you. Yeah, I believe the Mayor of Pembroke got this spearheaded, Mike LeMay, and basically, from what I understand, the bus runs from Pembroke to Ottawa during the week have been reduced to one at 5:15 a.m. And I gather this is for folks who are depending on this service for transportation during the week. Anyway, so the warden wrote quite an impassioned plea to Greyhound, and I think he's looking. I have copied municipalities in our community and hope that they would offer their thoughts to you. So I just wanted to see if you wanted me to draft something on behalf of this council.
What's our feeling? I think it's a good idea to support in this manner. It's there are people that use it. Obviously, they aren't cutting service, though. If everybody's that was using it is still using it, but it is a good service. I'd be in favor of a letter of support personally. Anybody have any comments? Councillor McLaughlin?
So are you going to look for consensus? Is that what you're
I would like to have
asking
a
for?
consensus for the letter, yeah.
Because I would be in favor as
Okay.
well. Because when my daughter tries to come from North Bay, she has to get on the bus at 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
That's not happening, so Dad has to go get her.
All right, then, Christine, the direction is to do a letter up. All right, that's all of our correspondence, so all those in favor of filing these documents, all those in favor? Oh, Councillor Regier. Putting your
Sorry about that.
Not a problem at all.
We kind of skipped over the Outstanding Volunteer Award, and I'd really like to see us, as a municipality, we've got many, many volunteers throughout that do many hours of volunteering, but I would like to recognize one, and that being Brenda Wright O'Grady. If you know Brenda, she is involved in the Beachburg Lions Club, she's involved in the Westmeath Recreation, could go on and on with her countless efforts and what she has done, and I would like to perhaps see if we couldn't take a look at that as a possible applicant. I think it would be well deserved, and I think it would be good on our part as a municipality to recognize our volunteers.
Yeah, I agree with you. She is relentless in volunteering, and this Saturday morning, Councillor McLaughlin for sure, and myself will be eating breakfast at the Lions Club, which she normally is a great instigator of cooking.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I would like to second that. I can't second
Yeah, I
it
think
from
if
here.
you look around, anytime
Yep.
anytime there's anything, she's there in the background.
All right, so it's moved by Kathy Regier, seconded by Councillor Jackson, that we make that nomination. And 1 year, Dave, Councillor Mackay, 1 year we'll put your name down, don't worry. We would like to, Brenda Wright O'Grady. Yep. Don't ask me about O'Grady, there's different spellings of that. When it comes to spelling, if you don't have a phone book with you and you're doing names, you're at a loss. Just saying. It's going to be hard just to make this kind of a secret thing so she doesn't find out, isn't it? Until the last second. I was just thinking if we were going to surprise her, we kind of blew that. But this is a good thing, and we need to recognize our volunteers. And I'm sorry I skipped over that very quickly. I was kind of embarrassed that I couldn't say the word. I'm not trying again. Jeez. That's okay. I'll read it, and if I say it wrong, you tell me. Seconder and firster. Can you believe that? Mr. Mayor. We'll firm up the details. This will get us started. O'Grady. That's what I wanted, yeah. Well, just when you're there, just stroke the O off. Yeah. Moved by Kathy Regier, seconded by Charlene Jackson. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region agree to nominate Brenda Wright Grady for the June Colwood Outstanding Achievement for Volunteerism in, it sounds like volunteerism in Ontario. Some words I can't say. All those in favor? You can say that. Opposed, if any? Carried. I'll work on that, but as of now, it's just out of the... Now we're at it. Moved by Kathy Regier, seconded by Dave Mackay. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region receives and files correspondence 1 through 6. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Well, I almost got you as an A there. Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Charlene Jackson. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approves the long-term employee recognition plaque qualifying requirements policy. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. I could be pulling them down myself, Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Charlene Jackson. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region receives and files the Visitor Center report from Coordinator Art Cobb. With thanks to Art and all of the dedicated community volunteers who operated this facility. All those in favor? Yes, Councillor Olmsted, then Councillor.
Sorry. Yeah, it's very touchy. Just want to make a comment that, looking at the numbers that they've submitted, since 2012, it looked like, well, actually 2011, there was about 2,000 people, using this facility. In 2012, it took a big jump to 6,000, so they tripled that. And it appears that since that, they've doubled again to over 11,000 people are visiting that establishment every year. So it's just a real hats off to the job that the volunteers have done.
Absolutely. Christine?
Just a reminder to everyone, we did receive $30,000 in federal funding, and we've also budgeted, we budgeted $60,000, but we won't need to use all that now that we have the grant funding. The tender is being worked on now, so that come April 1st, when we can access the federal funding, we'll be ready to go in the attempt of having all the accessibility renovations done for the Victoria Day weekend as the visitor center. So there's about to be significant improvements to it.
Councillor McLaughlin?
I'm just wondering, and this comment may be to the CAO, is Mr. Cobb still interested in doing this job next year?
I think his heart and his mind are interested in doing it. Whether he will be strong enough or not is a question that remains to be seen. So I think we'll just have to, before the mayor spears someone, I think we'll just have to wait and see how that goes.
Yeah, it's something though that we should be on top of, so if Mr. Cobb is not able to do it, then maybe he could suggest somebody, or because I think we do need to have somebody to look after it. He's done such a terrific job all these last number of years, and
Deputy Clerk Dillabo is going to be talking to him about a succession plan and what he might have on his mind, and I have a couple of suggestions as well for a strategic plan meeting in a week's time on what we might look at for the future.
that's good. That certainly answers my concerns.
All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Just at this time, just maybe ask for a little update on Elmer, if you have one.
Elmer Winters has been in the hospital. Eric, he's out?
He's out?
So he's feeling a lot better and he's waiting on his test results.
That's good news. Elmer Winters is our man in the sky over the park. Basically cleans it, looks after it, coordinates with Art, I believe, and with our CAO. Moved by Councillor Jackson, seconded by Councillor McLaughlin. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region authorize the CAO to sign the microfit application declaration form for the submission to the Independent Electric System Operator. This application authorizes Ottawa River Energy Solutions to act on the township's behalf with respect to the microfit program, but does not bind the corporation to the construction of any microfit project. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Reeve Miller, seconded by Darrell McLaughlin. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region agree to support the Muskrat Watershed Council as outlined in the Memorandum of Understanding, acknowledging the memorandum holds no finance or legal obligation for either parties. All those in favor? Any questions? Yes, Council. Oh, you're in favor? No questions? I forgot to do that one. You. All right. Carried. If there's no questions. Well, you lick the fingers, it works pretty good. Moved by Councillor McLaughlin, seconded by Councillor Jackson. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region supports consent application B93-0 Cart Lot 27, Concession 3 and 4 Ross with the following conditions. Favorable comments are received from the Ministry of Transportation, and 2 favorable comments are received from the Township of Horton, and 3, a registered plan of survey is required. All those in favor? Any opposed, if any? Any questions, Darrell? Carried. Moved by Councillor McLaughlin, seconded by Councillor Jackson, be resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region agrees to follow the Renfrew County decision to replace the prayer on the agenda of the regular council meeting with a period of silence. Councillor?
I was asking, we're having discussion. I was seconded, but I'm certainly not in favor of this. I think it needs to be brought up because for the last 4 meetings, we haven't had time to do the prayer. And to me, that is not proper or right. If it's on the agenda, I don't know why it was jumped over, but that's up to the mayor. To me, the prayer is very important, and I will be asking for a recorded vote because I am not in favor of this. But if it has to be done, I think it should be 2 minutes of silence. Should be or silence, so you can show your respect one way or the other. I think this, because in my thoughts, the whole law of the land is brought out from the 10 Commandments, and I've said that over and over many times, and I think this is terrible, but it's certainly showing the times, which I don't agree with the times. I think it's very important to me, but that's just my thoughts. I've always liked the general prayer that we've done.
I don't think that's of any actual interest to us.
I don't think there's any reason we couldn't carry on with that, but that's just my thoughts. Thank you.
I'm going to take a few minutes here and speak to this also. I'm dead against this. If we can't say the prayer, I don't think we need any minutes of silence because we have canceled out the rights of the people to have a prayer that we speak. So we don't need to show any respect with the silence either, because that will eventually be burn somebody's craw. I think this is very poorly thought out by our legal system in Canada, because they have caused this to be a situation where people view this as their rights being taken and their heritage being removed, and I agree with that 100%. The other thing is a lot of people feel that there's somebody responsible for this, and it's splitting our country apart in a lot of places, and I am dead against removing this, so I also will be voting against it. Any other comments? Councillor Jackson, and I apologize.
Thank you. While I agree with both of you, unfortunately it has come down to a legal ruling, and just in the event that people go to vote, and if we are challenged, that we are putting the Township of Whitewater Region at risk of being sued. So just so that you know, that's the issue. If we're challenged, and you could very well be challenged, because nowadays it's well publicized, and I'm sure the newspaper and the articles will be written, and we have to be very concerned about that, charging Whitewater Region to legal fees which are unnecessary. While I agree that, for years that the prayer has been said, it isn't a non-denominational prayer. It is a very strict prayer. So it doesn't recognize the fact that in politics there's no need to have religion. And I agree that it should be, it has been in the past, but that's the ruling of the Supreme Court of Canada, and it is for the province of Quebec. It hasn't been ruled in all of Canada. That was ruled against the law at the province of Quebec. But just so that you know, when we do vote, that there is a possibility of getting sued.
I would like to wait until somebody within our constituent coverage complains, and at that point I would like to relook at it again. That's my personal feeling. Any other questions? Well, we'll put it to a vote then.
A recorded vote is being asked for by Councillor Darryl McLaughlin. How do you vote, Councillor Mackay? Yea or nay?
Well, actually, I've turned it to you, so you read it.
Okay. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region agrees to follow the Renfrew County decision to replace the prayer on the agenda of regular council meetings with a period of silent reflection. Councillor Mackay? Yea. Councillor Regier?
Yay.
Reeve Miller?
Nay.
Mayor Johnson?
Nay.
Councillor Jackson?
Yay.
Councillor Olmsted?
Nay.
Councillor McLaughlin?
Nay, but I don't think we followed our
We didn't
policy.
follow our policy. I should have voted last. Pardon?
I think if you check our policy, the mayor is the
votes
one
last.
Oh, that's right. The
that
mayor
will
of the
break
town
the
voted
vote.
last.
I'm not going to change my vote anyway. How does it turn out?
It's 4 nay, 3 yea. The motion is defeated.
I will.
Mark defeated and fine.
Now, I would like Councillor, further on this, maybe somebody else would make a suggestion, but I think we should have a thought. If somebody does challenge us, then we should revisit this. And if we could have a mover and a seconder to that, it would be good. If not, I will step down and make the motion. I will step down, Terry. You gonna make it? Perfect.
I'm not quite clear. I mean, if we're going to be challenged, I think we could come back and redress it at any time, could we not? We don't need
Okay,
a
we don't need a
motion for
motion
that.
to do that apparently, so you're right.
That's what I'm thinking
Okay.
anyway.
But at the present moment, we carry on.
Maybe not as up on some people on policies and procedures.
We already have it entrenched that we can have a minute of silence anyway. Councillor, Reeve, Miller.
Could I make a suggestion then in view of what we just did? We're not going to have the 2 minutes silence. If we would have had time for 2 minutes silence, then we should have time for the prayer that we just voted on.
Now that we've voted on it, we will be doing that on a regular basis, one or the other. That's in our policy, and that was brought up also by Councillor McLaughlin, so we'll follow our own rules. All right. Moved by Councillor Jackson, seconded by Councillor McLaughlin. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region directs the Chief Building Officer to apply for available accessibility grant funding that will include installing an elevator to the upstairs of the area at the Covden Arena, along with bringing the bathrooms, front entrance, counter area, and sitting areas into accessible compliance for the approximate cost of an elevator installation of $100,000. Christine?
So in the report that you have from our Chief Building Official, Doug Schultz, He is asking for direction because we're looking for funding, and it's a large chunk of money. It's $100,000 alone for an elevator. So the question to council is, do we include an elevator in grant applications, or, because if we don't, we can't be using the upper area because it's not accessible.
Councillor Jackson?
I'd like to know why you think that we can't use the upstairs with regards to as a non-accessibility.
It's my understanding that someone who was handicapped was left behind upstairs when there was a fire situation. They were carried up and then they were left behind when there was a fire alarm.
Since 2011, municipality buildings were supposed to come into compliance with accessibility. And we can go ahead and use it, but if we get a complaint by somebody at any time, then we're going to have to address it right away or decide what we're going to do.
Councillor Jackson?
My understanding with regards to the accessibility is that we had to have a plan to become accessible, not necessarily be accessible.
We do have a plan, but from the person that we did the plan with, I called Steve Fegan, and I said, Steve, what's the issue with the hall upstairs in the Cobden Arena? And Steve said, you were supposed to be in compliance with accessibility as of 2011, and if you're not, that's okay, but if somebody does go up there and complains, then you could be in trouble and have to bring it into compliance or close it down right away. That's what I got from Steve Fegan. Now, I can do some more research if you want.
I'd like that.
The issue with the entrance, though, was at first we thought we were just going to do the entrance in the bathrooms. But when I was over there and talked to Jerry about that, Jerry had an engineer in there at one time and said the only place for the elevator is right where his little office is, if you're ever going to put one in. And if we go ahead and do the entrance now, we may eliminate that in the future. That's my concern.
And I think, sorry.
Okay, Councillor McLaughlin and then Councillor Regier.
I'm just wondering, have you had discussions with the rec association? Is that hall being used that much? Because it's not only to put the elevator in, then it'll be the cost of maintaining it. That's the scary part. I mean, to get it in, I'm sure the money can be raised. It's the maintaining of it afterwards, and whose burden is that going to lie on to?
Darrell, the only person I've talked in regards to the usage of it is Jerry. Jerry says that it is being used. It's not as rented out as much as it once was years ago, but it is being used by different organizations sometimes during the day.